So Shabbat Shalom, first of all, to the yeshiva. We have a wonderful study today. It may take a little longer time, just please bear with me. We have Old Testament, we have New Testament, we have prophets, we have Torah, a lot of things to run through, a lot of things to talk about. And since we've entered into the month of Elul, and rightly as Rafi has said, Elul is an acronym that spells out in its fullness, I am my beloved and my beloved is mine. So it is said among Khazal, it's said among the sages that in this month, during this month, the king leaves his palace and his throne and he comes out and he's walking amongst you and us. And he's scanning and he's searching and he is empathizing with the masses. The king is taking a walk, he's in the garden. And the Song of Songs, Song of Solomon is talking about that. That the Lord, the king, the beloved is in the garden. He's taking a walk in the garden. But are you and me in this garden? Are you and me waiting to see the beloved of our soul? That's the important thing. Are we ready? Do we recognize? Are we able to grasp and perceive His presence? Very, very important. So gather yourselves together, strengthen yourselves, and turn with me to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 18 onwards. Now in your English Bibles it may differ by a few verses up and down because the bifurcation is a little different. But turn with me to Deuteronomy 16 and we're going to read through a little portion of Parashat Shoftim. Parashat Shoftim is towards the end of the Torah cycle, coming in towards the month of Elul, and it's a very, very essential portion because it talks about the enactment and the setting up of the Sanhedrin and talking about the setting up of the judicial system in Israel. But if you want to connect this correctly, if one wants to actually look and connect this correctly to the New Testament and to the way the New Testament is based, is founded on everything, you will get a clear glimpse into how Yeshua is also operating within this sphere of Torah and Torah living. Okay, now turn with me, chapter 16, verse 18, and it says over there, שופט ושוטרים תיתן לך בכל שעריך אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך לשבטיך ושפטו את העם משפט צדק. שופטים ושטותרים, judges, shofet, a judge is called a shofet. From the word shafar. The Hebrew word is shafar. The root is shafar. What is shafar? Shafar is speaking decrees from your lips. What does a judge do? He passes decree from his lips. So shafar is basically speech or decrees, judgments or rulings. So a judge is called a shoftim. Shoftim with stotrim. Stotrim are what you would call colloquially in today's time law enforcers. So whether it's the police, it's anybody that takes the law and enforces the law, employs the law to the masses, that's what Stotrim is. So judges Shoftim and law enforcers, Titen Lekha I have given you. Titen Lekha is being given to you Behol Shearich for all your cities of you. Asher Adonai Elohecha, which the Lord your God Noten Lecha has been given to you, Li Sheftecha for all your tribes, to judge your tribes, Et Ham and the people and the families, Mishpat Tzedek, and to judge the tribes and the families, Mishpat, for justice and righteousness. Verse 19 says, Lo tate mishpat lo tachir panim velo tichak shochad ki ha-shochad ya'evel enai chachamim vi salaf devret tzadikim. You shall not judge unfairly. You shall show no partiality. You shall not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the discerning and upsets the plea of the just. And then it uses this word, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdoff, Leman, Tihaye, Veyareshta et Haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach. Justice, justice shall you pursue, that you may thrive and occupy the land that the Eternal, your God, is giving you. And then you shall not set up a sacred post or any kind of pole besides the altar of the Eternal, your God, that you may make, or erect a stone pillar, for such the Eternal, your God, detests. Now when we read this portion, it sounds so commanding, it sounds so demanding, it sounds as if, God is putting into place a very strict structure of judges and magistrates and police officers and law enforcers and all these miniature and all the bureaucracy. And he's giving it to the children of Israel, saying, you are going to adhere to this. But I want to make you understand something. It's very, very important, because this is going to lead to a bigger understanding of what we're going to study today. The reason why it's sounding like this, because of the English. But when you are actually understanding the contextually what is happening out here, you will understand. Point to be noted, firstly, is that the Eternal is having a real rough time dealing with the children of Israel. Every step of the way, they're hitting back in a way with rebellion, with anger, with disobedience, a whole lot of things. And we read it from the time they left Mitzrayim till now, 40 years. They have only been a rebellion. So the reason why Hashem, or God, is actually telling Moshe to appoint judges and magistrates and police officers and rulers and bureaucrats and scribes or whatever. It's because to deal with the rebellious nature of the people. So God is giving them a makeshift solution, saying, you are not going to be able to walk correctly. I know it. You are not going to be able to rise above yourself. You are always going to mess it up. So therefore, it is for your interest to appoint judges and magistrates to balance out the nonsense that you are going to commit now and forever till the time the rectification comes. So, in other words, God is also saying, okay, this is a hopeless situation, but I need to put certain checks and balances in place. Otherwise, these guys are going to go into a complete riot. So do not think for 1 second that this is God's heart to give them the structure. It is not. It is only because of the hardness of the hearts. And it's not only about the children of Israel. It's about humanity. Because all humans by nature want to rebel. And I always keep telling people this, we look at the Jewish nation and say, okay, you all rebelled, you all done this and done that, you all were disobedient, and you all were... My question is, do you think that you and me would have done a better job in lieu of what Israel done? Take for instance that it was us and not Israel. Do you think we could have done a better job? Do you think we had it from the nations, that we had the heart of Moshe Rabbeinu to intercede? What happened to the prophet Bilam? Although he had access to the eternal, he was going from the nations. Do you think he had the capability to be different than Moshe Rabbeinu or to be similar? No, he was completely different. So he had the capability of the nations to have access to the eternal, but what did he do with it? He did not have the elevation in his soul to intercede, to stand in the gap, and to do the things what Moshe Rabbeinu done. So by nature, the Goyim do have access to God, but they do not have that extra edge. Than what the natural branches of Israel have. So to balance out the children of Israel and all that humanity is capable of, God is saying, why don't you set up a system so you can look after yourself? This is exactly what's happening out here. If you don't set up a system, you're going to run amok. So, Moshe, please give them judges and magistrates and this and police officers, so that they will, at least those laws that are written, will keep them in some kind of check. It's not going to solve the problem of the human nature, but it will at least give a certain amount of balance to the existence going forward. That is why it says, you shall not judge unfairly. So even the judges, although they are put into a position of overseeing and judging the people and dispensing justice, but they themselves are subject to this human contamination that they need to be fair, show no partiality, do not accept bribes or initiate a bribe, because a bribe destroys justice. Do you know a bribe destroys justice so big? In God's sight, it's a horrible thing, absolutely horrible thing. For it blinds the eyes of the discerning. So somebody who wants to dispense justice, and if he accepts a bribe, he's compromised, blinds you out, and then you get completely blind to justice. And it upsets the plea of the just. So the person who requires that justice now It's been shut off. And that is not a good thing in the sight of God. Then verse 20 says, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdoff. Justice, justice, you shall pursue. The many synonyms of this word Tzedek can be tzedakah, charity. It can be also benevolence. What is the meaning of being benevolent? To be tender-hearted and to be open and just give. Don't count the cost. To be completely free and unshackled and unrestrained in giving. To be benevolent. To be a kind, charitable person. It also means, or from where you get the word tzaddik, nitiman, righteous. What is a righteous person? So when it says tzedek, tzedek, tirdoff, it's saying all these things. Be benevolent, be kind, show mercy, follow righteousness. Pursue righteousness to its core, to its end. Do not let go of righteousness. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdoff, leman tihaye ve yarashta et haaretz. That you may yarash, the word yarash means you will inherit. That you may inherit and thrive and occupy the land. Why? Because if the land is filled with Hamas and violence and injustice, no one's going to inherit the land. Because there will be no one left because you are murdering, stealing and pillaging. So who's there to inherit the land? If you pursue love, mercy, kindness and justice, you will inherit the land. It's a simple thing. These are not spiritual things. It's a very simple thing. Specifically the land that the Lord your God is giving you. And then you shall not set up all these sacred posts and all these altars and all these idolatrous things. Don't do it. The Lord your God detests you. It will detest you and it detests these things. God detests all these things. Now, based on this, we need to jump ahead and we need to understand in the New Testament why we talk about law. We're not under the law. Jesus has removed us. Yeshua has removed us from the curse of the law and the law. And, Rav Shaul talks very big about being under the law and not being under the law. We are freed from the law, all this stuff. It's because of this. It's simply because of this. So, to put it very simply, what is Rav Shaul saying? He's saying that you have a choice and I have a choice of pursuing righteousness or not pursuing righteousness. Do we have kindness in our heart? Do we practice mercy and kindness and love and benevolence? The way of chassidut, the way of kindness, the path of kindness, the way called chassidut is filled with kindness. Gemilut chasdim, benevolence and kindness. Are we capable of this, yes or no? Or do we choose else? Now the Bible is very clear. It says, choose this. Every person has the capability of defining for himself what he wants his life to be, what he wants to be in his life. No matter the circumstances, no matter your hurts, no matter the difference that have happened to you, no matter of your disabilities, it doesn't matter. In fact, if there's anything that's there, it's for your advantage to overcome it. But you and me have a choice to pursue justice and righteousness. In everything that we do, we must be fair. Fairness in every single thing is most essential and necessary. And this is not a very spiritual thing. This is not, chappad fadki and okay, oh God, please give me fairness in my heart. No. It's for you to decide that I want to be a just and a fair person. Because in each one of us, the voices of be cruel, break it, destroy that, hit that person, don't go there. Those voices are so strong in all of us. And each one of us have a choice. Saying, no, I must go against that voice, that Yetzar Hara, that evil inclination. It has no power over me. And I have to choose to be just and fair. No one's going to do that for me. And if I feel that it's too much, I cannot accomplish it, hasn't God given us a comforter for this? He has. But why do we not join with the comforter and say, Lord, I want to choose justice today. I want to choose benevolence today. I want to choose the path of kindness. Either you're kind or you're cruel. And everybody's on the spectrum of, from kindness to cruelty. Where are you on the gauge of 1 to 10? From kindness to cruelty. Where are we? As I said, this is not something that heaven gives you. It's something you have to decide. And I firmly believe that you and me can decide, okay, I want to be a better person. And if I'm falling short, the Lord is with me to overcome. The Spirit has been given to me. Therefore, Tzedek, Tirdoff, righteousness, justice, righteousness, I shall pursue all the days of my life. And if I pursue righteousness and justice in all that I'm doing, I will be able to change first my life, second my family and my environment, third my society or my community. And then when that happens, everything around me would be on the path of tikkun ha, rectification of the soul, and rectification tikkun ha-olam, of this world. So basically, God saw the vulnerabilities of the human soul. And he says, Moses, these people need to have this system set up in place. Not that I want to give it to them. Not that it's what I desire for them to do. No. But it's necessary for them that you put up the system, otherwise they're going to run amok. And all that I'm trying to do with them will come to naught. So, please set up the system for them. Okay. Now, we can go to the rest of the Parashat of Shoftim, and we're going to read these things over and over again in different forms and different formats. But this is not what I'm going to do. Now we're going to jump to Matthew chapter 23. So please turn with me to Matthew 23, and we're going to read this famous, very famous chapter, right? Matthew chapter 23. Much studied, big scholarly thesis written on this. But let's look at a very simple midrash. Not all those big scholarly things have been written for 2000 years. Just leave all that aside. Just look at a very simple midrash. Take the Bible on its Parashat level, on its simple, what it is speaking to you, on that level. And we're going to put into context, based in Parashat Shoftim, what Yeshua is saying out here. Now, this is very, very important, because if you'll understand this, you will understand the gist of what Yeshua is also trying to accomplish in his time. Okay. Then he says, then spake Jesus to the multitudes and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Do you know, in every synagogue, on every Bet Tefillah, I'll use the word Bet Tefillah, the house of prayer. The Greek word is synagogue. So in every Bet Tefillah, if you go even in any part of the world, even till today, and if you go to any synagogue or Bet Tefillah, you will see one high seat out there. And you'll see another seat out there. Two seats. One seat is a rabbinical thing. It's called the seat of Elijah. But there is another seat called the seat of Moses. It's always kept in every synagogue. And that seat was used centuries and centuries ago by very wisdom-filled sages and Kohens and Levites who could dispense justice to the community in their time and their period. Today we have unified civil laws and country laws and codes of. Today the law of the land is all absorbent and all powerful. But in those times, justice was from that seat. It was dispensed from that seat. Every day after Shacharit, or Mincha, or Mariv, people would come to that seat of Moses and they would lay bare their hearts saying, this is my problem, please help me. Women, men, partners, business oriented, whatever was happening, they would come and they would take counsel. And that chair would dispense justice, therefore spreading Tzedek, Tzedekim and righteousness in the community. So Yeshua is saying the scribes and the Pharisees, they sit in Moses' seat. They do. And that's an important place because of the condition of the human soul and humanity. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. Why is Yeshua saying this? Saying because it's for your own good. Because you all are not at the level where you all don't need the system. You all need the system to keep you all in check. You all need the system to keep you all in check. All that they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not after their works, for they say and do not. You see? They are taking the Torah, they are simplifying it for you, okay? They are taking the instructions and making it law for you and telling you and giving you the solutions to all the things. Just listen to them. It's for your own good. But don't be like them. Why? What does Deuteronomy say? Shoftim. That even the judges are not spared from this contamination. So he who also is giving the edicts, the Shoftim, Shafa, who's giving the decrees must also be of quality of soul and purity of soul to dispense true justice. Otherwise, the bias and the clouding and the bribes and the corruption, if all that is affecting that justice, that judge, that Shoftim, problem. So by the time it came to the time where Yeshua was walking this earth, most of the scribes and Pharisees turned out to be unrectified, not in the process, not following the Torah, doing everything for their own selfish gain, and not dispensing true justice to the people, which was required because of the society they were in at that point of time. If Yeshua would have had it differently, there would have been no justice system at all. If God would have wanted a perfect society, there would have been no justice system at all. It was never intended for law and justice to be, the system to be put into place in the first instant at all. But it had to be put in for the people's sake. So Yeshua is dealing with the problem in hand. See, they are sitting in that seats and they've got the Torah with them and they've got the interpretation of the Torah and they know exactly what they are telling you to do. Go and do it. But listen, don't be like them. Perceive. Please don't be like them. He says, what are the options you have? If you want justice and I'm not around and you want justice, who are you going to? You are going to go to Moses' seat and ask for justice. So do it. It's important for you that you get justice. It's very important. Every person, every single person, irrespective of who you are, where you are, what you have, what you don't have, what is given to you, what is taken away from you, spiritually, emotionally, materialistically, everything. From inside, the one thing we are constantly crying to God. If you look very carefully, look deeply within your soul. You're constantly asking the Lord, Lord, why? And that why, why, is a need for justice that you want in your life. At the end of the day, what do you want from the Lord? Healing? Because you asked the Lord, why am I sick? You want money? Lord, why am I poor? Why do I have a bad family life? Why is this and why is that and why is this? Why? I want justice to my soul. Then my soul will heave in its beauty. Till then, I'm constrained in all things. If my soul doesn't require justice, doesn't get justice, then I'm going to suffer in all things in my life. Every single thing. I'm going to be constantly in this constraint. So make no mistake, everybody in this world, the foundation of your relationship with God is I want justice. Be it, that's it. Therefore you have to go. Now Yeshua is looking at the situation and inwardly he's crying because he is kind of frustrated with the scribes and the Pharisees and the entire system, that although it is a system that was not ideal, but the system itself now is not working for what it was supposed to work. So he's looking at it and saying, there is no option. So he's telling the people this, please go. Tzedek, Tirdoff, justice, righteousness you shall pursue. Don't let it go. Are you understanding this? Very, very important. I'm putting things into perspective. Okay. He says, but whatever they say, that do, but don't do who they are. Don't follow them. Don't try and emulate them. Why? For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne. So every mishpat or shofta that comes from their mouth comes to a place of bias. Therefore, they will not dispense justice properly, and that's very, very dangerous. So they will over penalize, and they will use, uh, instead of giving a very simple ruling, but they'll make it more complex because of their ego or whatever's happening. All this stems from corruption of the soul and unrectified, absolutely unrectified uh, souls that are in places of position and power over people, who dominate people, who manipulate people, who uh, dispense uncha shikshan, laws and teachings, so they could gain something out of it. It's so sad, it's so bad. This is what Jesus is dealing with, Yeshua is dealing with. Then he says, for they bind heavy burdens, grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, saying, you got to do this. I'm a poor person, okay, but you will take 2 bulls and you'll go and sacrifice. He says, I cannot even buy 1 bull in my entire lifetime. You're telling me to take 2 bulls for a korban. How am I supposed to do that? Isn't this? The heart is crying. The heart is crying. They lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves do not move them with one of their fingers. So they will penalize, but they will not penalize themselves. They'll absolve themselves from all this. Oh, I am better than you. No. The heart of the matter, Yeshua says, for you to understand, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. They thrive on humanity. I remember when we studied Julius Caesar in school. There's a portion in Julius Caesar where I think it was who gave the speech, right? Friends, country, Romans, friends, countrymen. He says, the good that men do are often interred with their bones, but the bad lives on. And then he also goes on to say that people live twice. There are 2 deaths. He talks about 2 deaths. So he's implying that the 2 deaths a person takes. A person can die physically and expire, and that's okay, we understand that. But when a person dies because he cannot thrive and live on the support of his society, that death is far worse. A humble person does not thrive because of society. A person who does not live according to what society wants him to be is a humble person. But if a person is living for show and for society to be seen, to be, for a big name and to be known and to be powerful and all these things, no. That kind of death it cuts in such a difficult way. There are 2 ways a person can die. A physical expiration, and yet when life itself destroys you, you don't get the support from the people, because a lot of people thrive. And this is something, I always ask the Lord, one thing you should, Lord, give me discerning. that I should not move onto the path where I feel at any given point of time that I'm doing this for the people. If I'm doing this for the people, then I'm on the wrong path. And also show me the discerning among all the other peoples, that who is doing what for gain, for people. And this is a very fine line. You and me have to be very careful about this. No one can be spared from this. We have to move with alacrity at any given point of time. Do not corrupt your souls. Extremely important. Very, very, very important. But they do all their works to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries. Okay. Now, the reason why the phylacteries were actually given, or it was, God told them that the phylacteries need, have you seen what the phylacteries, they tie the tefillin, right, on the arm, and they put the tefillin on the forehead, right? Those are phylacteries. But there was a reason for that. There was a genuine reason. God told them that you shall, when we say the Shema, we say the same thing. You shall bind them on your arm. You shall place it between your eyes on your forehead. Put it on the doorpost of your house and upon your gates. Simply because that wherever your eyes go, it should remind you to remain in the path. It can be the most simplest of tefillin. Just a simple tefillin, okay, that's in front of your eyes and say, oh, I know my path, I cannot deviate from this, I can't sin. So descriptively keep it between your eyes, right? Wrap it around your arm, the arm that's weak. If your right arm is weak, wrap it in your right arm. If your left hand is weak, tie the tefillin in your left arm. Okay, and by the way, the tefillin on the forehead was placed in front of the spiritual eye. And the tefillin had the letters of Shin, fire. So whenever a Jew prays, he's guarding his spiritual eye and he's allowing only the fire of God enter them. Otherwise, that spiritual eye can be used for a whole lot of things. It can be used for meditation, it can be used for transcendental meditation, it can be used for the evil kingdom, for a whole lot of stuff. The spiritual eye is a common thing. It is a common thing. But how you use it, the original Pentecostals were the Jews. God had told them, cover it with the tefillin and guard your spiritual eye. If thine eye be single, your body will be full of light. Getting the point? These are all the mystical things of Yeshua also. If thine eye be single, your body will be full. If your body is of darkness, how great is that darkness? Guard your spiritual eye. Let only purity come through. That was the tefillin about. But if the tefillin is going to be made of ivory and gold and silver and emeralds and straps that are $35,000, you go and buy a kosher tefillin in Israel today. It's the most costliest one can even go to $50,000. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You'll understand what I'm saying, right? It's very, very important. I'm not saying the tefillin is bad. To have a good kosher tefillin with kosher straps, excellent, very good. But if that is going to say that, I'm super rich, therefore I can wear 50,000 tefillin. Oh Lord. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of them. It's got nothing to do with only scribes and the Pharisees. It's got to do with even you and me today. Oh, when I want to enter the stage to minister to people, oh, it has to, But you know what? I'll tell you. Whenever a minister comes to town, you should see the people. Arey, send him a car. Going to receive him from the airport. Take a bouquet. Put a shawl around him. Right? Put him in a five-star hotel. Bring him. Let's ceremoniously bring him on stage. Right? And this and that and stop living and feeding on the people. Are you all getting me? Stop it. I mean, it is so horrible, absolutely horrible in the sight of God. Who deserves the glory? Not you and me, but God. And I don't understand how we can corrupt ourselves with all of this. We're talking about scribes and Pharisees. We're doing the same thing today in our congregations. We're doing the same thing. Why? Why? For they enlarged the borders of their garments, loved the uppermost seats at the feasts, and chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the market, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. Now, this is completely taken out of context because a lot of people, take out of what is the meaning of Rabbi? Rav simply means greatness, okay? Muchness. We say it in the Shema. Rav, muchness. A person can have so much of muchness and yet be grounded in love and in kindness and be humble enough. Or you can live and thrive on the praises of the people and your muchness is so much to be shown into this world. So much. Unbelievable be shown into this world. And you're thriving on the people, right? And you enter the market and everyone says, Rabbi, 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 Ma shalom, ma shalom, ma shalom, 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 ma shalom, ma shalom. Jesus is not saying, don't not be a rabbi or rabbi. I don't not be called a rabbi. He's saying, don't be called Rabbi, Rabbi. So if your Talmud, if your disciple says, Rabbi, can I talk to you? It's fine. But when I'm saying, oh, Rabbi, oh, great one, how, please, my Lord, great one, that's a problem. That's a problem. Read between the lines. Very, very important. Then he goes on to say, call no man your father upon earth, for one is your father which is in heaven. Don't you have a physical father also? So what is Jesus talking about? Everyone has a physical father. What's he talking about? I'll tell you. If you ever been to Ben Yehuda market in Jerusalem or any of the souks, forget that. Anywhere in the Middle East. And if you're an old person with little white hair, they'll call her to Abuya, Shuk, Shushmak, Abuya, Kefikhal, come. Yavo, come. What do you want? Abuya, father. This is the culture. So Yeshua is saying, listen, he's saying, if you call somebody father, it has to have a spiritual connection, a deep meaning to it. Your father, your biological father is your father. You call him father with deep love. It's great. Your father in heaven, that honor that you give your father in heaven, don't desecrate that honor and call another useless rascal of a person, Abuya, father. Don't do that. Because that is flattery. It's lies, it's flattery. and you're flattering other people, and that same flattery, shafa with your same mouth, you're doing it to your Father in heaven. It's a no. Don't do it at all. Don't call anyone master, teacher, rabbi, more. No. If you don't mean it, and if he's not your teacher, if he's not your more, don't call anyone else more, teacher or rabbi. Give respect and honor to the one who is serving you. Don't desecrate. Every word is important. Every appellation is important. To Jesus, to Yeshua, there are no superfluous words. There are no insensitive words. There are no insensitive appellations in his mouth. Everything's with uttermost sincerity and apology, sincerity and perfection. That's what we need to learn. That's what we need to learn. 1 second, guys, just 1 second. That's what we need to learn from Yeshua. Call you no man Father, neither be called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. He says, you're calling master, 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 but you don't mean what you're saying. But he is that greatest among you shall be a servant, and whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. Then he goes on to say, woe to you scribes, this big thing, woe to you scribes and Pharisees, you devour widows and shut up the kingdom of heaven against men and all. It's all because of this. Then he talks about the gold in the temple and the offerings and all these other things. But the one verse that I want to talk about, verse 22 and verse 23. Very essential. I'll take a little time, friends, because please, there's much to learn out here. It says, and whosoever shall swear by the temple, sweareth by it, and by him that dwelleth therein. And he that swears by heaven, sweareth by the throne of God, and by him that sitteth on it. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin and all those wonderful, expensive condiments, because you bought it for a very heavy price and so expensive, and you come and give it as your tithes to the Beth HaMikdash. But he says you have omitted the weightier matters of the law, which is Tzedek, justice, judgment, mercy, emunah, faith, the tithing and the dispensation of the law and all that you ought to have done. That's for you to do in any case. But don't leave the other things undone. The weightier matters of the Torah, of the law, are what? Righteousness, kindness, mercy, justice, pursuing righteousness, Tzedek, Tirdoff. These things should not be left undone. Therefore, he says, you are blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. The simplest of things you'll get stuck and wound up with, but the big things you'll know how to find a way out of. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, you may clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but within are full of extortion and excess. Shocking. The habits that develop in a person, full of excesses. The meaning of excesses is that I can, my wants and my needs. And these are all things that destroy a soul. I get up in the morning, I want my cup of coffee and only my brand of coffee, that's it. I don't drink anything else. My coffee is my coffee. Excesses of the soul. Just make a cup of coffee and drink it. Have a cup of tea, whatever is available. Just have it. Open the fridge. If there's a juice, have the juice. No, this is my side of the bed. This is my cup of coffee. That's my chair, my table, my this, my that. Oh gosh, excesses of the soul. And this leads to bias. This leads to bribing yourself. This leads to the outwardness, but the inner innards, the kurbakha, the kurban inside is devoid of any rectitude and rectification. Nothing. There is no break inside. It's hard, it's swollen. Thou blind Pharisee, he says, first cleanse the cup and the platter, that which is inside, and then the outside of them may also be clean. He says, you are like white-watered sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of uncleanness. Ye appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. And he goes on and on and on. Fill up then the measure of your fathers, he says. Fill it up. You have been given a system for your own good, but that also you all have destroyed. He calls them serpents, generation of vipers. How can you escape the damnation of hell? Because of which I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them you have killed and you have crucified, and some of them you shall scourge in your synagogues, persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Havel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berachiah, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. And I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that thou that killest the prophets, stonest them which are sent unto thee. How often I would gather you as a children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you would not. Behold, your house is left to you desolate. Behold, I say unto you, you shall not see me henceforth till you say, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Therefore, when justice is not dispensed, there is violent crime, there is murder, there is slaughter, there is fraud, forgery, whatever you say. The result of that, the penalty of that is death. The penalty of crime is death. There's a sin that can be rectified, there's a sin that cannot be rectified. A rectifiable sin is something that is a simple thing. You can say sorry, apologize, repent, restitute. Unrectifiable sin is when you murder somebody, you can never get the soul back. And that, the rectification for that is death. That's it. So we're left with two choices. One rectifiable sin, one unrectifiable sin. Are we committing sins that are unrectifiable and that deserve death? The things that are rectifiable, and are we working on it? Are we working on ourselves? So Israel was given the Torah to distinguish between the rectifiable and the unrectifiable sins. Follow it. Do not even break the rectifiable sins. Perfect yourselves. But if you indulge in the unrectifiable sins, what is your penalty? Death. Because they deserve death, the Son of God had to come and die for them. Because the only solution left was death. Book of Romans. For if the princes of this world knew who the Son of God was, they would not have crucified him. What does that mean? It means that if they were wise enough, if they understood the righteousness that God has given, it was not necessary for Jesus to die. But Jesus had to die because they were not wise enough. Even today, we are still not wise enough to know and to understand the difference between rectifiable sins and unrectifiable sins. Even now, everybody is still committing unrectifiable sins. You'll ask me how. Whew. You don't need to kill somebody as an unrectifiable sin because you can't bring that life back. But if you bring down a soul to this earth in irresponsibility, that's a sin that cannot be rectified. Because once a soul comes to this earth, that's it. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And there are a couple of them also. Maybe one day we could talk about these unrectifiable sins. There is a sin that leads to death and there is a sin that does not lead to death. Bible says it. Therefore, if you look correctly on the Parashat level, from Deuteronomy, this and this, all this put together, you will realize that the choice of following and pursuing righteousness is a very simple thing. It's not a heavily spiritual thing and this and that. No. It's you deciding that I want to change myself. That is it. It's as simple as that. How damaged, how banged up you are, whatever's the problem. Take help. Decide that I want to follow righteousness. I want to follow the Lord. And it's a choice that we make. We'll fall, may mess up, but as long as you're in the process, God will see your perfection one day. If not, then death. But death also has been commuted. Why? Which is why we need to go to Isaiah 51, 52. Now, normally we read Isaiah 53 out of context because it talks about Messiah, about the ability for the Messiah to be able to be bruised for our for our sins and our transgressions. That's fair enough, but it's saying something in context. It is saying something. You cannot just read 53 without reading 51, 52 and 54 also. You have to understand the full context, and this bifurcation which is given in the English Bible does not do justice to this because it breaks the line of thought and the context of 53. So turn with me, we'll just read through. Sorry, I'm taking a little time today because we're in the month of Elul and it's very important to get our foundation right. Where are we? Isaiah 51 verse 12 onwards. It's very beautiful. He says, Anoki, Anoki, hu me nachamkem miet vatirai menosh yamut u mi ben adam chadzir yinaten. I. It's not ani. See, the word ani is, there are two words that refer to the first person, two person. One is ani, one is anoki. So whenever you read I or me, ani, whenever the Bible uses the word anoki, it has a very heavy meaning. It's not ani, it's anoki. It means it's a very it's got to do with more. This is me. It's not I'm saying this to you. I'm saying this to you. No, it is me saying this to you. Getting the gist, the difference. It's a big difference. It's not that I am saying, oh, I said this. Oh, I'm going to go there. No. Listen, it's me who's going there. It's me who's coming to you. not I. It's me. So I can also be ego, but me is soul quality. It's me. So Anoki, it's me. Who? Me, Nachamkem. That comforts you. Me'et yitirai me'enosh. What ails you that you are fearful, it says? Are you afraid of man, Enosh, the mortal who dies? You afraid of the mortal who dies? Me Enosh Yamut Umi Ben and Umi Ben Adam, or the son of Adam, or the man, Khazir Yinaten, who's like the fading of the grass. Now, what's the difference between Enosh and Ben Adam? Whenever the Bible refers to Enosh, it talks about humanity, mortals. But when it talks about Ben Adam, it usually refers to Israel and the children of God, or a child of God. A child of God is called Ben Adam. It's not called Enosh. Enosh is humanity, mortal. For all mortals are to die. But the Ben Adam is like the grass, Khazir, that has been given, that is there and he fades. Are you afraid of that? Have you forgotten your Maker who stretched the heavens and made the earth firm, and you live every day in constant dread because of the rage of your oppressor? And he goes on, for I, the eternal God who stirs up the heavens into roaring waters, whose name is God of hosts, have put my words in your mouth and sheltered you with my hand. Sorry, you don't have time. I'm just, at least I can carry on. We don't have time. I planted the skies and made firm the earth. I have said to Zion, you are my people. This is very important. I have said to Zion, it says, you are my people. Le mor le Zion, ami ata. Now you are my people. Hit oreri, humi Yerushalayim. Rouse yourself. Shake off. Get serious. Arise, O Jerusalem, it says. Kumi, to rise up, to stand, Yerushalayim. Asher, shtatit meyad Adonai et kos kamat, et kuvaat kos, et yale ishtit metzit. You who from God's hand have drunk of God's filled cup, you have drained to the dregs. He says, you have been so down, you've got the worst of God's judgment. But arise now. Arise and gather yourself. For she has no one to guide her. Of all the children she bore, none of her take her by the hand. Of all the children she reared, these two things have befallen you. Wrath and ruin, who can console you? Famine and sword, how shall I comfort you? And then he goes on with all these blessings. Therefore listen to this, O unhappy one, God says. Listen to this, O unhappy one, who are drunk but not with wine. Thus says God, your sovereign, your God who champions this people. Herewith I take from your hand the cup of railing, I remove the cup of healing, the bowl, the cup of wrath, you shall never drink of it again. What a beautiful thing. You who have seen the worst of the indignation of God, what has the Jewish people gone through? Can you imagine every possible thing, the worst of humanity they have seen? You shall never drink of it again. I'll put into the hands of your tormentors who have commanded you, get down that you may walk over you, that you may lie back to the ground like a street for passerby. Now 52 says, Uri lebashi uzecha Zion, lebashi bigde tefartecha. Awake, arise, O Zion, clothe yourself, lebashi bigde. You know what it says? Tifaretecha, in beauty. Now what's Tiferet? One of the seven Sferot. Tiferet is beauty. Beauty is the is the balancing of all the middot. It's the center portion of the soul. That when all your middot are in its perfect balance, that is beauty. That's Tiferet. Arise, arise, clothe yourself in that. Get to that balancing point of that beauty. Put on the robes of majesty. Tifaretcha Yerushalayim, Ir HaKadosh, HaKodesh, Kilo, Yosef Yavo, Becha Od, Aral, Vetame. Put the robes of majesty, Jerusalem, holy city. For it says the uncircumcised, the Aral, and the Tame, the impure, shall never enter your gates. So it's telling us something very, very important. And now you'll get the gist of what's going to happen after this. Arise, shake off the dust, sit on your throne, Jerusalem. Loose the bonds from your neck, O captive free Zion. For thus says God, you were sold for no price, and you should be redeemed without money. For thus says my sovereign God, of old my people went down to Egypt and all. He talks about all this. Assuredly, they shall learn on that day that I, the one who promised, am now at hand. How welcome on the mountain are the footsteps of the one announcing happiness, heralding good fortune, announcing victory, telling Zion, your God reigns. Right? Look, raise the voices as one who shouts for joy, for every eye shall behold God's return to Zion. Raise a shout together, O ruins of Jerusalem, for God will comfort his people and will redeem Jerusalem. Do you know what Yeshua done actually? Was this. And we have all been grafted into this redemption. Then it says, Kashef Adonai et Zaroah Kadashu le'enai kol hagoyim ve'rehu kol afsi eretz et Yeshuat Elohinu. For God will bear an holy arm in the sight of all the nations, and the very ends of the earth shall see the Yeshua of God. Yeshuat. Wow. We'll see the salvation, we'll see the Yeshua of God. Yeshuat Elohinu, of our God, the Yeshua of our God. Turn away. Touch not the impure as you depart from there. Keep pure as you go forth from there, you who bear the vessels of God. For you will not depart in haste, nor will you leave in a flight, for God is marching before you, the God of Israel shall regard. Indeed my servant shall prosper. Read in the Hebrew. Hine Yisrael Avdi Yarum Ve'nasa Ve'gava Meot. Behold, Yaskil, what's Yaskil? From the word Sechel, proficiency and intelligence. Sechel is intelligence, proficiency, the ability to be proficient and perfect. The skill, proficiency, that's Sechel. Behold the coming Yaskil, the proficiency and the intelligence of my servant Abdi. What is God saying? Behold how perfect and proficient my servant is going to be. Yarum ven nisa. Yarum, Ruma, to be high and exalted. Vegava, meod, to boundless heights. Od meod, to boundless heights. Just as many were appalled at him, so marred was his appearance, unlike that of a person, his form beyond human sense. Kasher shmamu alecha rabbim ken mishkat meish marehu v'torahu mibnei adam. Why? We studied why. That this Avdi, the servant of God, will take upon him that solution, and he will take the death penalty for Israel upon himself. Just so he shall startle many nations. Kings shall be silenced because of him, for they shall see what has not been told to them, and shall behold what they have never heard. What have they not heard? The very simple things of God. Pursue righteousness. Follow kindness and mercy, justice. And if you don't, then the land will be polluted in violence, and the penalty for that is sin and death. But who can believe what we have heard? What does the prophet say? But who can believe what we have heard? Upon whom has this arm of God is being revealed? To which nation, to which people is what this is going to be revealed? Who? To who? Who's going to believe what we're going to say? For he has grown by God's favor like a tree crowned, like a tree turned out of Adam. This itself is, friends, this itself is many hours of explanation. I don't want to get into it right now. Maybe next week we can probably do Isaiah 53. But this is giving us the gist of all that we studied, the system, the law, the violation of it, the hypocrisy of it, what Yeshua was fighting during his time, trying to tell them, trying to change, rectify. Finally, Isaiah 53 and 52. But you have to understand 51, 52 and 53 together, that you and me have been grafted into this Israel. There's not one covenant with the nations and another covenant with Israel. No, there's only one covenant with Israel. There's no other covenant. It may be renewed from time to time, upgraded, renewed, software update, whatever you want to call it. Fine. But the covenant does not change. And the rectification and the perfection had to come by way of mercy, kindness, justice. The things that should have been done, you are doing. But not leaving the weightier matters of the law, which is love, mercy, kindness, justice, fairness, left undone. Shalom, friends. We'll probably continue this next Friday. Please give me time, because, very rarely does God give us such deep insight into things. So I leave all of you today. Shabbat Shalom, and I see you all tomorrow morning for Shakai Presence, 7 o'clock. I'll put the recording off, and then if you want to talk, we can talk.